talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo! To all husbands with the same interests, bow your heads as the Lord's ministry.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the November 2nd edition of the Walker AC Experience. I'm your host, Mr. Walker, Walker AC, or further as known as Adrian. This edition is sponsored by Podbean.com, where you can find our show under WalkerAC76.podbean.com. That's WalkerAC76.podbean.com. Of course, you can find the links to the show on various free platforms you can find us under and whatnot. Thank you for tuning in. The last couple of shows was a hit success, surprisingly, of the Nonsense Show. A virtual taking a piss on just whatever I want to talk about that particular day. More or less like your secret show, but just less formal, I guess. Now, the Walker AC Experience is going to be more formal, of course, as we always talk about uplifting things and positive things, and we try to slow the tempo down a little bit. Now, so if you please excuse me, you'll hear me sniffling a little bit of allergies, a little bit of weather change, whatnot has got me. I'm sure it's got you too. Best thing you can do is, like my mother always say, drink plenty of fluids, rest as much as you can. But the real world, I have to work like all the others and be a parent and all that other fun stuff in between. So please bear with me. The power of editing is not one of my strong suits. Now, our sermon for today, my little wonders, my little snowflakes, is recently I was in touch with an old friend who has been through a loss. And my thoughts and prayers have gone out to her and her family. She's taking it very well. Every day is a step in the right direction of recovery. So my thoughts and prayers continue to go out to her and her family. Recently visiting with her, she went over about her loved one's belongings. And in those belongings, he was an avid video game player, which of course is a beautiful thing in my book. And as we're talking about games, she was gracious enough to gift me a modified Xbox. Now, for those of you millennials who aren't too familiar with that, this is pre-Xbox One, pre-Xbox 360. This was the very first Xbox. Now, what made it more enjoyable is the fact that it was hacked. Which means the moment I turned it on, I saw every single Nintendo game on there known to mankind. A couple of PlayStation 2 games, a couple of Xbox games, and a couple of just arcade games on there as well. Truly tickled my fancy because it brought me back to a particular age in my life where video games were my life at one point in time. It helped bond myself and my son at the time, and it helped, just bring me back to the days of, less stress about life and work and blah, 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 blah. So I took it home, I hooked it up, and I played, and it, brought back certain nostalgic feelings. It's like when you smell fresh cut grass, and you think of a particular time in your life, or you hear a certain song which will bring back good memories, or bad memories, or just something indifferent. To me, the video game experience brought back a certain, part of my life where I just was a different person. I spent most of my time working and playing video games like a fiend, just what I normally did. And my question to you out there, listeners, people who have thankfully downloaded this show, hung on with bated breath knowing it's Tuesday and you know what that means. What is something that brings you back? Something that triggers you in a good way. Certain memories. What song brings you back? What video game brings you back? What movie brings you back? What commercial brings you back? I'm curious to hear about that in the comment section below. Because one of my favorite games was a game called Burnout. Pardon me, the snorting here. It's, the fun pleasures of having allergies is a beautiful thing. I currently playing Burnout, playing Tetris, reliving those wonderful moments of my life. And as I touched upon in my previous nonsense show about how I was a kid and, think of myself maybe in a coma still, the wonderful things that I've held on to as a child, my youth, my video games, my artwork, my drawings and whatnot. And that makes me realize, as I get older, and my normal saying was, which holds true, as our memories get longer, our life gets shorter. So as my little one is now a full-grown adult, I tend to hearken back to the things that makes me not necessarily hold on to my childhood, but gives me a little taste of my childhood or my teen years or even my early 20s. And I look at my entertainment center. Yes, I still have one of those. And let me be braggadocious for a second. It's a $5 word. I have my original Xbox, my Xbox One, a modded PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 4, still haven't played yet. Still have Final Fantasy, haven't touched in a very long time. Don't judge me. And I have a couple other game systems, the Wii Plus, whatever that is. Have one of those things too. And I find myself not playing as often because being an adult, you have obligations, you have responsibility. And sometimes you get so lost in that, you don't have a chance to really sit down and be a kid like you should. Now, of course, you really can't be a kid full-fledged, but just holding on to certain things. And for me, being a kid means breaking out my PlayStation 1 and playing Final Fantasy 7, or now playing Burnout, which I should be in bed, but no, I'm playing a video game, of course, and talking to all of my lovely, wonderful, loyal listeners out there who will hang on to my every word and listen to every single show. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I like to relive certain things in my childhood. So in the comment section below, let me know what you still hold on to. As you in your 30s, your 40s, maybe even your 50s, what do you hold on to? What childhood things bring you that little glow that you can reminisce about? And on the topic of children, my little one just turned 18 a couple days ago. Now, after all the crying and snotting has subsided on my end, I'm extremely proud. Not because my parenting skills, because it takes two, but the fact that, he has grown up to be a mature young man handling his business, and which always bears a question, what's next? You raised a young man, now he's going to go do his thing in life and make his own mark on the world. You set the stage. Now it's his job to show the world what you already know that he can do. What's the next stage now? Being 45 years old, world traveled, working in a great job that I love the most. What's next? Let's see. We have the podcast. Worldly Renowned, a clothing line. Worldly Renowned 2, tee-hee. And more TwitchTV.com, which I haven't done yet. Bear with me. I'm still trying to get over the nervous hump of showing my homely face to all of you. I tend to let my voice do the work itself because I can stammer and stutter and hem and haw and say every single time. But I have my voice to fall back on, so I'm still nervous about showing my face. So bear with me. It'll happen soon. And working on my animation as always. Excuse me. Not coughing for sympathy, just allergies again. What is next for the Walker EC experience as life number 2 continues? What do you suggest, my loyal listeners? Do you suggest branching out, having more partners in the Walker AC universe? We have the experience on Tuesday, Miss Bradley on Thursday with Service, the movie review on Saturdays, now the new show, Nonsense, and of course also don't forget the secret shows out there as well. What else can we add on to the show? We have listeners taking over the experience. We still have entries for the new intro of the show. A decision will be made in the next 2 weeks, so we'll get an opening brand new intro along with a new listener to show his music, which would be a tremendous thing. And also on top of that, just a few more surprises. Because we are going to make life number 2 very entertaining. As long as we're on this big ball called Earth, we're going to continue to leave a mark out there for all of you, listeners out there, all having a good time and doing what we do best. That's provide good news, good positivity, and good messages. Now, I apologize early. This show will be brief, considering that, mental health is number one, also along with personal health is a good thing also. So me being a tad bit under the weather, this show will be brief. But I shall also thank you for tuning in, thank you for still being a part of the Walker AC experience, for downloading the shows, for sharing the shows, for interacting with my Twitter, for interacting with me on my email, slackingmajestically01yahoo.com, and of course, subscribing to podbean.com. We thank all of you for that, because once again, without you, there is no us. I'm going to retire to my chambers, and I'm going to rest. And I'm going to put out a secret show this week because I feel that it is not fair for me to do a very short show on a Tuesday, because Tuesdays are big days to broadcast, and so I don't find it fair to do a little simple show like this. So fear not, my lovely snowflakes. I will do another show this week once I'm healthy and back to my normal fighting weight. And until then, folks, there is only one of you. Take care of yourself, because in this world, you matter. This show is not just for me, it is for all of you out there. No matter what you're going through, no matter what pains and struggles and stress you're going to, one step at a time. It's going to be okay. It may not be okay now. It may not be okay tomorrow, but it will be okay. You keep your head up, you keep one foot in front of the other. Take a deep breath, acknowledge what you have in front of you. Embrace what you have, love what you have. Because you never know when things can change. So enjoy today. Wake up, start all over again. Till next time.